Proverbs 11:25. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself. There's a trilogy of verses here with very similar meaning. Verse 24 says, There is that scattereth, and yet increaseth, and there is that withholdeth more that is meet, but it tendeth to poverty. And as we looked at that the other day, we learned that giving or withholding determines our increase or our decrease. Verse 25, For today the liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that waters shall be watered also himself. Basically, it is saying that liberality always comes back. Then verse 26, He that withholdeth corn, the people shall curse him, but blessing shall be upon the head of him that selleth it. And I believe the emphasis there is that people react as to our spending freely. Our verse today can be simply stated, generosity pays. God has been very generous to mankind, and I believe He rewards men that show a similar generosity to others. There's this verse in chapter 19. He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he hath given will he repay again. Notice those words. Lendeth unto the Lord, the one who has pity on the poor. Our financial treatment of the poor is as unto the Lord, and He is the one who will repay us. Proverbs 22:9 says, He that hath a bountiful eye shall be blessed, for he giveth of his bread to the poor. 28:27 says, He that giveth unto the poor shall not lack, but he that hideth his eyes shall have many a curse. God carefully observes our giving habits. I believe that illustrated by Jesus as He watched the widow woman give of her 2 mites. It was not nearly what others gave, but it was all of her living. And 2 times we find it listed in the Gospels concerning that woman. If we are generous, God is able to give us an abundant return. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 says, Cast thy bread upon the waters, for thou shalt find it after many days. Give a portion to 7 and also to 8, for thou knowest not what evil shall be upon the earth. If the clouds be full of rain, they empty themselves upon the earth. And if the tree fall toward the south or toward the north, in the place where the tree falleth, there it shall be. He that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap. As thou knowest not what is the way of a spirit, nor how the bones do grow in the womb of her that is with child, even so thou knowest not the works of God, who maketh all. In the morning sow thy seed, and in the evening withhold not thine hand. For thou knowest not whether thou shalt prosper, either this or that, or whether they shall both be alike good. You know, many people reason that they cannot afford to give, when in fact I believe you can't afford not to give. Many years ago we had a woman in our church that was not very well off. She was actually very poor. And we had a situation that we needed to make a purchase. It was somewhere around $3,000–4,000. And I remember with all sincerity she said to me, if I had that money, I would give it to God. I found it interesting that just 2 weeks later, God, I don't know how, gave her $5,000. She didn't even tithe off of that. And she wound up living in a poor state the rest of her life. Don't miss your opportunity to give and lose the reward that God has for you. Hebrews 6:10 says, For God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have showed toward His name, in that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister. Remember, these opportunities for giving, they need to be done cheerfully, or it doesn't count. In 2 Corinthians 9:7 it says, every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. May God bless you today.